Welcome to You're Not the Boss of Me. If you are determined to break glass ceilings and build it your way, this show is for you. I'm your host, Beth Graves, and I am obsessed with helping you to not just dream it, but make the plan, connect the dots, and create what you crave. Are you ready? Let's get started. Welcome back. I am so excited. I have an incredible guest on this episode. Her name is Kristin Crockett, and I am going to do a little intro. And first of all, I love to tell people, because a huge thing about my life is I seem to get these awesome connections with women. And it's because I always ask questions. So a friend of mine, Yvonne, who gave me permission, met Kristin and started working with her in Deserve Coaching. And I started to notice the shift with Yvonne. Like something was different. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like, you know, when someone has like a new boyfriend or a new haircut or they've got something, she had this glow. And I'm like, Yvonne, like, what is going on? Are you having good sex? Like, what's the story?
I love it.
So she introduced me to Kristin. And so I am going to just read, it's almost reading, but I'm looking at her bio because Kristin, when I first talked to her, she was interviewing me for a book she's writing, which she'll share. And she said she had it all, the American dream. She was making all the money. She was top in sales in her career. She had the beautiful house. She had the husband. She had a beautiful family, yet she was overweight. She wasn't feeling fulfilled. She felt this missing piece in her life. I know I can relate. Kristin doesn't know this story. I'm going to have Kristin continue to share what she did from that moment. But I think this many women will relate to. I had just turned 40 and I had gained a bunch of weight. I had never had a weight issue. And I also decided to cut my hair. And I'm looking at Kristin because we're live together. She's got this adorable haircut that I'm like, it is sassy. I cut my hair. So I had gained weight. I had cut my hair. And my husband, who is desperate to figure out what can I do to help my miserable wife be happy. So he's like, what do you need? What do you need? Like, that's what we want, someone to ask our needs. And I was like, I need hair extensions. Like, that was my answer to why I wasn't happy. So I went out and spent $2,500 on hair extensions. I looked good for about 3 days. And then my friends had to do an intervention after a month. Like, this is not a good thing for you. So anyway, hair extensions was not the way to raise my deserve level. And it wasn't how I ultimately found that contentment on that next piece of the journey. So Kristin, hearing that, I'm sure you get clients that were in my position all the time. Can you share your story, your journey, and how you ended up leaving that corporate high-paying job to help women just like me?
Absolutely. So I love the hair extension story. I think it's a really great illustration about something outside of me is going to make me feel better, right? It's something else, some kind of circumstantial something is going to make me feel better. And for me, that's really where my story started. So I had the beautiful home and it was gorgeous, 4,800 square feet, the granite counters and the warming trays and the this and the that. And I loved my house, but it's like I bought all of the things that people who are incredibly successful buy, and I put them in a house, and I was terribly unhappy and didn't know why. I'm like, I have everything. I have everything that I've ever wanted. And yet, I had the kids, I had the husband, but there was just something missing. And I couldn't put my finger on it. And I just kept gaining more and more weight. I was overweight my whole life. So it wasn't like a matter of a period in life or right after I had my kids, I had put on 80 pounds. I had actually carried 80 pounds upwards of 20 plus years. And when I met my coach, I was almost 40. So that turning point in my life where the triplets were old enough that they didn't quite need me as much. They were 5. So of course they still needed me. I just
want to pause. Did you hear that? Ladies out there, triplets. I was on my bed crying and I had independent kids that were not triplets. This woman gave birth to 3 at once. Just want to point that out.
It was funny because what was happening was for so long, everything was 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's like change the diapers, make the bottles, do this, do that. There was no time to like go, oh, who am I? You know, what is this world about? Why was I born? There was nothing like that in my life. You know, it was just 1, 2, 3. And if I wasn't doing 1, 2, 3, I was going to work, and I was working at a technology organization, and I just go, go, go. It was like at that hamster on the hamster wheel, you know, that just keeps spinning around.
When did you go? So one thing that comes to me there, and this is like off topic, is don't you wish as a mom that's surviving motherhood, and I know there's resources out there, I wish I had known about journaling and known about meditation and getting my brain in the right place. And even just the Breathe app, for goodness sake, putting that in while I was breastfeeding could have changed a lot. So maybe it's because we're in a more evolved space that I think all moms know about those things. But that's something I always think, okay, what can I do today to contribute to someone else's life? And I have 3 young moms I'm thinking about. I'm just going to buy them the Breathe app for a year and say, use this.
Yes.
Okay. So you're in this hamster wheel and you made a shift. Like, how did you come across the Deserve coaching? Like, how did it come across your plate?
So I did a lot of complaining in those days. And I complained to a woman that I worked with. And she was one of these women who, you know, seemingly on the outside just had it all. You know, she was a pilot. She was amazing at sales. She was a yoga instructor. There was just no limit to this woman. And I loved that about her. I had a lot of respect. And she was also, incidentally, one of those people that doesn't allow you to complain to her without giving you something to do about it. And I'm so grateful for that today because, right, when I complained to her, she's like, I'm going to give you something to do. I want you to call my brother. And my brother's a coach.
Oh my gosh. That's
Yes.
awesome. That's what I'm going to start doing when people start complaining to me. I'm just giving them your number.
There you go.
Okay. So you started on, that's a scary move for someone. And I know that our listeners, one of the big reasons that I asked you to come on, we were talking about your book. I ended up turning it into my own private coaching session. We never really got to the book, but one of the things leading a large group of women that when I had a huge compelling reason when I started in sales. And even though it wasn't always comfortable for me to make those calls, get on the Zoom, have gatherings in my house because, you know, your house is never ready. The compelling reason was so strong that I didn't stop to consider, what do other people think? Why shouldn't I do this? But when people get comfortable, like you were very comfortable, you're making the money, right? So your compelling reason for making that call was you felt like, right?
Yeah, I really felt powerless. I mean, now I know, I didn't even know what that meant at the time, you know, but I felt powerless. There was nothing that was going to change my life. In fact, my first call with my coach was, well, here you go. And I complained to him for a half an hour about how, you know, everybody out at work was against me and, you know, there was no time to eat healthy and I can't even manage to brush my hair half the time when I'm getting the kids in the car and getting them out to school, let alone try to make an egg or prepare something healthy for myself. Are you kidding me? And so I had no power. I had no power to change my life. And that is when, after he listened, I don't think I've ever had anybody just listen to me. Like I just go. Like I'm like, wah, wah, wah. And then he goes, okay, Kristen. He goes, I want you to consider something. He goes, we get in life what our unconscious mind believes we deserve. And
Wait. Say it again because we need like bells and whistles. Say it again. We get in life what our unconscious mind believes we deserve. All right. And I want to stop here because he gave you that message. And I know I spent a lot of years calling bullshit on people like you and saying, oh, really? Come on. You just have to get in the game. You have to work hard. You have to do the thing. And I used to say that about people. I would get up at 5 a.m. and run. I was at the gym. I was probably on the obsessive side of fitness. And my sister would say to me, don't be so quick to judge because you haven't been in the shoes of someone that is. And I got into those shoes when I had let the health side go. So I used to always say, well, if they wanted it, it's almost like telling someone with a mental illness to just be happy, right? Mm-hmm. And so when someone's feeling like getting out of bed in the morning and putting on their running shoes, like they're not springing up, and that every step out of bed is like walking across glass because it's so painful to take that action. Some people might say, well, that's just lazy. You've just got to do it. You've just got to do it. When suddenly this door is opening and evolving in my head of they can't figure out how to do it. How is the subconscious mind playing into that story? I love to give strategies and solutions. I've spoken on stages about all you do is put 100 sticky notes on a wall and you move 10 a day. And Yvonne, who introduced me to you, she's like, yes, I know I need to move 10 a day. But me as a coach was like, well, why aren't you moving the 10 a day? Which made me realize there's a reason, and that's that subconscious mind. So how does that, you obviously went through the coaching, you learned about the deserve level and how to raise the deserve level, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So somebody listening is like, okay, I know all the things. I have all the checklists. I have all the diets. I mean, how many of us have bought $70,000 worth of diets? We even know what we need to do to get our marriages back on track, but we just don't freaking do it. And did the bell go off in your head that day when he said that about your subconscious mind? And can you explain a little bit behind the science about that?
I would be happy to. So when he said that, and you got to remember, I had complained to him I was in my own head, and he woke me up. Like, it was like, bam, I'm up. It was the way he said it. And I knew I could trust him instantly when he said that because of the way he said it. So a little bit behind the science of deserve level. So our unconscious is 5% of the way that we think. So our unconscious mind has its own, it's handling our actions. A lot of people say, oh, well, I'm on autopilot. It's like if you wake up at 3 a.m. and your alarm clock goes off and you're used to waking up at 5 a.m. every day. It's like, have you ever heard the stories where people are like, oh my gosh, I got totally ready for work. I got in my car, and the next thing I know, I realized I had 3 more hours I could have slept. Well, the unconscious mind takes over, right? Going through all the motions. And that's what controlling most of our actions is, our unconscious mind. So consciously, I could look at an exercise program and I could go, oh, well, I know all the tricks. I've been on Weight Watchers for 20 years of my life. I know how much to eat. I know portion control. I know how to weigh food. I know how to exercise. I had been an athlete. But my unconscious mind viewed me as the big girl. Just mind viewed me as somebody without self-discipline. My unconscious mind viewed me as somebody who was going to break every single rule that anybody who was a diet practitioner would give me. My unconscious mind had its own itinerary. So when you've got this, almost like these two worlds that come together, it shows up in reality as resistance. And for me, it was resistance to action. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because I resist authority. And
yes.
So, well, and resisting authority, but I was always, but they don't really know I'm resisting them unless they're smart like you or well trained in it. So let's take that. I know that. So if you were coaching someone, because I think that before people, I know that listeners are thinking, oh my gosh, she's inside of my brain. Did they crawl inside of my private sacred space where I hold all my secrets? I want to tell you, if you're listening, that even if you look at somebody that has it all together, they're winning, they've got the car, the house, the marriage, the job, at any level of success, this comes to play in order to get to the next step, or to, I think it is for me right now. When I started in 2014, it was hard for me to say I'm not happy because I didn't want to disappoint those people. My husband was like, how can you not be happy? Look at what we have. Or even my daughter came to me and said, Mom, what you posted about 2014, it makes it sound like you were sleeping in bed all day. We were a family, we were having fun, and to not disappoint those people, to say, I needed something more for me. And so that piece of it, but also there's so many people and women, and I'm thinking of one in particular, that she needs something more for herself. And I keep giving her an action plan to take the steps. There's a big financial chaotic piece going on right now around money, and there's no action being taken to make the money that they need. So the missing ingredient to me is the total and complete deserve level that she's experiencing. So if you were to, and this is, you guys get ready, because what would be the first step of someone if they're like, I'm not quite ready to do some coaching? I know we're going to give everyone resources. There's a lot of free things that you provide if people are just wanting to learn, and there's a book coming out. But what are you going to tell? I'm going to call her Mary. What will you tell Mary today, who is looking at the sticky notes or the action plan or the phone, and she's just not doing it, and she knows that it's in her hands, but it's just this? Or me eating, 2 years ago, I know I'm not supposed to be eating this mint chocolate chip ice cream out of the carton at night, but screw my trainer Amy, because I'll start tomorrow and then I'll fool her Friday because I won't eat carbs for 3 days and she'll never know about the ice cream, when like Amy didn't care about the ice cream. All Amy wanted to do was help me achieve these goals as a nutrition and diet coach. So like, that's a lot that I just threw at you, but that's all people sabotaging success and happiness because of the crap in our brains, right?
Mm-hmm. So first thing that I would give her, to this person who knows not to eat the chocolate chip ice cream or knows not to do these things, but is doing them anyway, I give them my listening, because I can listen beyond just the surface. So I can hear where somebody's ego becomes engaged. And the reason why I can hear it so well is because I spent so much of my life in that place. And I worked really, 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 really rigorously to get out of it. And I worked on really untangling my own ball of yarn in my unconscious mind, and really weaving it out one decision at a time that created all of the stories and contexts in my brain.
So I love that, one decision at a time. So how does the work begin? How does Mary or Belinda or Danielle, who they want to start with that one decision at a time? And I'm a true believer in this. I told you before, my solution always is hire a coach, but you can't hire a coach and like build out, let's say you want to build out a funnel to bring leads your way, but you don't do the work and you don't connect with the customer. Same thing here, but one decision at a time to raise that deserve level that, I deserve to have a healthy, hot body and feel good about myself when I get dressed in the morning. How does somebody start? What do you do to start the process?
Well, what I did to start was, obviously I did hire a coach because I hired Ed. And then after 3 months of working with Ed, I tripled my sales and lost my first 30 pounds. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to be a coach. This is amazing. So that's how I started. But, to start something like that I think it's really to identify what you want. Most people can't even identify a target of what they want because their unconscious mind already makes it impossible. An example of this, and when they go to identify what they want, looking and observing what's in their way, so if I were to have said right when I began, my deserve level wasn't even high enough to be able to say, I want to lose 85 pounds. That would have been like insane to me. I mean, my first instinct in my first conversation with my coach was, what? If I could just get my blood pressure down and I could feel good and I could lose 20 pounds, that would be good enough for me. So it's almost like to be able to identify your good enoughs. Where are you settling? Where am I settling in my life? Because I'm too afraid to even identify what I actually want.
So what is an exercise to help someone to identify what they actually want?
Well, one of the things I do on an introductory call, or what I like to call a deserve level strategy session, is I have people create this, which is a magic wand. And I want that. I was holding out my index fingers. I forgot people won't be able to see what I'm doing on podcasts, but it's...
I'm going to throw this out there is I have an actual wand, just so you know. Like it's got.
I do too.
Oh my gosh. See, I knew we were like sisters from another mister. I bought a wand and I was like, I will wave that wand around. I used to do it when my kids were toddlers. I'd be like, okay, you are going to be exceptional humans today that cooperate and play and get along. Wave, wave, wave. And they used to think I was crazy, but it kind of worked. Now I wave it on myself. So, okay. So you've got your magic wand.
So your magic wand, what your magic wand does is it helps you get rid of that inner critic. You know, the one that's going to be saying, I'll never forget my coach saying to me, well, you know, you only want to lose 20 pounds. That's it. You don't ever want to be on a beach. You don't ever want to, you know, you don't ever want to wear a bikini or this or that. And I'm like, and I remember saying this as plain as day. I'm like, oh, well, sure, I'd really want that, but that's freaking impossible. I'm a mom of triplets. Are you kidding me? I'm never going to have a body like that. This body has been stretched out to 300 plus pounds. You know, there is no way that would ever happen. You hear all those decisions? Those are all unconscious. So even just that is the first step. So when you get your magic wand out, you get to take that and just kind of silence that inner critic. And that's what the magic wand does. And then be able to say, well, this is what I'd actually really want. And if somebody, I don't care what that thing is, by the way, that you want, because if you look out into the world, if somebody else has it, the only thing that's between you and somebody else is your decisions on what's possible for you. That's
oh my gosh, that you guys write that down. Like that is huge. Go back, click, 15 seconds back, play it in half time. I listen to my podcast at 2 times the speed because I need to get all the information. That is huge. And I have personally on my own personal journey of, I don't know why this time, I just said, well, it's available to me. Suddenly, after I started the business at 47, it's available to me. And I think back to when I was at my fittest, it wasn't well, I can't. It was, of course I can. And so at those moments, I didn't have the doubts. But then, when I turned 50, I found myself saying, oh, well, I'm 50 now. So my goal weight's going to be 20 pounds more, or I don't want to live my life. I had all of the excuses or the interference. It's kind of like if you're playing catch and then you've got like a 6'10" tall basketball player interfering with that ball and that flow. That's how my mind works. Is I always envision him. He's really tall and he keeps grabbing my damn balls. Like I'm trying to throw them and he keeps interfering and knocking them out of my hands. And I will visually, I don't even know if this is deserve level coaching, but this is like, I call it like my Beth coaching method is I literally will stand up and I will punch him and I will say, get the F out of my way. I am going forward. And I have to then put on some Beyonce and dance it out. Like that's kind of,
yes.
So my block, I'm working on a project now for creating a program for women. And my vision and my dream is to bring women together and give them the resources and the connections. That's how this podcast was born. And I kept stopping with the production of the podcast because I kept thinking, well, there's already another podcast like that, or no one will listen. And that was obviously, so I had to like take the interference dude and punch him and be like, get out of my way. Because even if I share Kristen today, that one person out there hears this message and is like, I'm going to go to her website. I'm going to go to her free group. And one move is made. Like one decision, you guys, whether it's a humanitarian effort, whether it's just somebody that is in an abusive situation, they need to leave, or maybe it's you're like Kristen or me that we are feeling powerless and we're like, it sounds like a book. I was made for more, but to be okay with that. So we gave you a glimpse of what's inside the deserve level coaching. And Kristen, I know that they can find you, connect with you. I want you to give us all of those details. We'll also put them in the show notes. But if today someone is driving to work or they're at the gym and they're listening to this, and I know I've listened to podcasts and I've cried thinking that's where I am, and they're not quite ready to make the move to call you or reach out to you or they want to consume. What can you tell that woman today that's at the gym or she's driving in her car and life feels like it's just falling apart. Like, what's your message for her today? You were there. What do you wish someone had said to you before that? You know, you had someone say, call my brother. And we don't plan these questions and I do it on purpose. So Kristen's probably like, whoa, these are harder than I thought. It's not the typical what is deserve level coaching, but you've got an audience. I want you to think of that one person. She's driving. Her tears are streaming down her face. And she's like, crap, are they talking to me? What is your message for her today?
My message for her today is, well, how my brand was born. My brand is Courageous Destiny. Okay, so if you break apart courage, core means from the heart and then rage. So from the heart, rage, destiny. That's really what it means. And for that person who's in their car crying and feeling powerless, the way to grab your power back is to do something. So even though it's uncomfortable and it would be terrifying, then I would say challenge yourself to call me anyway, because those are things that I actually understand. So I wouldn't actually go to them and go, oh, don't call me. It's okay. Do what's easy. I would say do what you're most afraid of first, and that will give you the most power. So I would say call me.
I love it. Yeah. And do what you're most afraid of first. And
Yes.
Sometimes those are conversations. And sometimes that's like going to the networking event alone or going to Bunko in your neighborhood or even walking inside of, I'll tell you a quick story. My daughter, a brave move for her was walking inside of cycling class. She had never done it. She was on a health journey. And when she got to college, she walked inside of a soul cycle, which was scary because, like, I don't know, what's that? There's a movie where she falls off the soul cycle, but someone messaged me on Instagram the name of the movie, please. But it's a scary place to walk into. There's a lot of like perfection and do you know how to get on the bike and clip yourself in and whatever it was that day that she decided I'm going to make that brave move and walk through those doors of Soul Cycle and not worry about if I have the right outfit or if I know how to clip into the bike or if I know how to sign in. These are all things I've said to myself. She walked in. And that one decision was the compound effect of meeting a community of really amazing humans, changing the trajectory of what her focus would be in her life, and also feeling empowered by this body of hers that was able to move and grow and do all these things. And I remember she said when we were moving her in to her dorm, I'm going to go to Soul Cycle. I'm like, you are? Like, that was so brave. Mm-hmm. But it's sometimes just one move, one call, one moment of courage that propels that forward. And I hope that when you take that moment of courage today, whatever it is, whether it's calling Kristen or walking into that fitness class or walking into church again or calling your mom because you feel this disconnect, I hope you're met with love and not resistance. And even if you aren't met with love, that's okay too, because it's your step, right? So that's what I just today, let's all do something courageous that feels uncomfortable, that we know we should be doing. And it might even be like sending a sexy text to your husband and don't think, oh, he's going to think this is weird. Did you do it when you were dating? Do you want to have a date night? Do you want to take your son bowling? Or, like all these things that come to my mind, or make a brave call in your sales. So do something courageous, because I love that. Your courageous destiny is that push, right?
It's
so tell us.
Push.
Yeah, that push, push, jump. Okay. If someone could take a look inside of your planner, are you digital or paper?
Digital.
Okay. If someone could take a look inside of your planner, what is one thing that you do every single day that they would see that you do and that is just a non-negotiable for you?
They would see that I have 15 minutes a day that I raise my deserve level and I journal.
Oh,
it's like non-negotiable.
I love it. All right. I love to peek inside people's journals and their days and their daily plan. And Kristen, if someone wants to consume more of this and you and learn more, where do they find you, connect with you, give us the goods?
Perfect. So I do moderate a group online on Facebook called the Deserve Level Movement. So that would be an excellent place for somebody to join. And I'm always posting in there. I'm posting Facebook Lives. We have other Deserve level coaches in training that are posting in there. Clients of mine, people who know the work or just want to make a difference in the world are posting in there. So find me there. And then also, if on Facebook, I'm also doing the lives on my Friend Me. Reach out to me, just reach out to me. I will have a website coming up actually next week. It's being created, courageousdestiny.com. And that is where you will find other videos and eventually have subscriptions and things like that creating, all to support people living their courageous destiny now.
I love it. And we'll put all those links in the show notes below. And are you also on Instagram?
I am not on Instagram.
Okay.
That's actually something that's on my to-do list.
Well, we'll do that together
Yes.
I'll share it out because our listeners love to screenshot the episode. So screenshot the episode, tag me, and then I will make sure that we get that over to Facebook because you can also put it in your Facebook stories that you've been on this podcast. And I'm going to encourage, so I'll put in the show notes below that how you can connect with Kristin, how you can get a part of her free community. When this airs, the website will be live. So we'll also add that website. And I want to say thank you. I have notes. I have learned so much today from your wisdom and from you sharing your experience. And I just can't wait to make more connections and do the work along with our community.
Beautiful. Beautiful. It's really been an honor to come on to the show today. And I do feel like we're like soul sisters or something, Beth. It's awesome.
I know. I'm actually thinking that
lots of similarities.
I'm going to do this today. If you leave us a 5-star review over on iTunes and you let me know, I love to see it on Instagram or Facebook. I'm going to mail one person that's listening a wand, my favorite magic wand, because I keep extras.
Love it.
Yeah, you get a magic wand today. I keep extras. I have some swag. I think that maybe a wand is going to have to be in my camp swag store. I have a camp store. These are all ideas that come to me that I wake up in the morning and I keep a journal next to my bed because anytime I have an idea or something, floats into my brain, I write it down and my husband will be like, "You write in your sleep." I'm like, "Yeah, that's how ideas are born.
That's how it gets created."
That's how it gets created. That right brain side.
If you don't write it down, it's not real.
I have like an overabundance of right brain.
Me too.
All right, you guys, thanks so much for being with us today. As always, I appreciate all of you and I want you to have that moment of courage. Share it out on Facebook. Let us know what it is so we can celebrate with you and we will catch you on the next episode. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today on You're Not the Boss of Me. I'm hoping that you found one thing that you will do today that will allow you to move forward to that big, audacious goal. And I have a favor to ask of you, and that is leaving me a 5-star review over in iTunes. Every single week, I read your reviews. I love hearing what you have to say, and it allows me to bring you more, to get more people to interview that are doing the thing, breaking the glass ceilings, creating what they crave, and helping you with your game plan. So leave me a 5-star review, and when you do, I enter you to win the You're Not the Boss of Me swag. So make sure you leave it, and we'll reach out to you if you're the winner. Thanks so much for hanging with me today, and we'll chat with you soon.